We break down our top 5 SEC quarterbacks. Former quarterback coach and head coach in the SEC, David Cutcliffe, joins us. And we play a little rapid fire on a Tuesday. It's SEC Media Days, Day 2. Welcome to Cran & Company. When you look at the most important positions on a team, especially in a conference that considers itself and is the most dominant one in college football, the quarterback position we know is at the top. So when you're breaking down quarterbacks, as we're going to talk with about David Cutcliffe, there's a lot of things that go on in an evaluation off the field that are as important on the field. So we decided on this beautiful Tuesday, turning up on a Tuesday, with my buddy and former Big Ten quarterback, David Cohn at Michigan, and my brother, former wide receiver at Western Colorado. He's over there too. He's pretty cool. We thought we'd break down our top 5 SEC quarterbacks. And yesterday, I'm going to be honest, there was some talk about top 5 SEC quarterbacks with different media members. And there's one guy I just cannot believe everybody continues to fall in love with like he's riding up on a horse in the beach in the middle of a Nicholas Sparks movie. So here's my top 5.
Okay.
I'm going to drop it right now. 1, it's Bryce Young. Okay. Heisman winner, defending Heisman winner, whatever you want to call it. I got C.J. Stroud winning it this year out of Ohio State, but to me, he's number 1 in the SEC. 2 is K.J. Jefferson. I feel like we're going to see another big jump for K.J. I thought you saw a big jump between his sophomore year, his junior year. He comes back under Kendall Briles. I know he lost Treylon Burks to the NFL, but Jaden Hazelwood, as I was talking about yesterday, I think he's going to be a good add. I think he's going to give them a little more depth. I'm interested to see how they perform at tight end and again, the identity on offense that they have. Offensive line with Sam Pittman, I'm never worried about it. Number 3, Will Rogers. Maybe the most underrated quarterback in the country. You watch him in the air raid. I think you could put him in any system. He's a guy that can make throws off platform. He's a guy that can make throws on the run, whether it's rolling to his right, rolling to his left. He's able to work the field from the back end to the front end, and he knows that system inside out. I hope he has enough around him to be able to be as effective as he possibly could be. Because if you look at the numbers last year, Will Rogers from a production standpoint, from a completion standpoint, from an accuracy standpoint, from a keeping the play alive standpoint, hitting big plays, he can do all of it. So I got Will at number 3. And number 4, I got Hendon Hooker from Tennessee. Coming back in that system with Josh Heupel. Obviously, you're going fast. Like Blaine says, everybody get lined up. Don't look, get lined up. I'm interested to see, after losing Velas, how they do at the wide receiver position, but I trust Josh, and I feel like that system automatically helps you as a wide receiver. I don't think you need to be a first-round draft pick in the NFL to be a dominant wide receiver in that system. So give me Hendon Hooker, number 4, and then 5, Will Levis. I don't think this guy is the top 10 pick that some think he is, but when it comes to arm strength, when it comes to improvisation, when it comes to toughness, I think Will Levis is one of my favorite quarterbacks in college football. Now, I know we lost Wan'Dale Robinson. I'll be interested to see how they fix that. I know they do return C-Rod at running back. But, number 1, watching Kentucky throw the ball forward has been fun. Since, like we said yesterday, their offense was, stuck at a speakeasy in the 1920s until Eddie Gran left. But I do think Will Levis, from a moxie factor, I think talk about a nice fit at quarterback. To me, Will Levis, without a doubt, is a Kentucky-style quarterback. He is physical. I'm interested to see how he does. So that's my top 5. Notice there's a few people missing. Stetson Bennett, who I had at 6 on there, and then Spencer Rattler. We'll get into that. But, Cone, who are your top 5 SEC quarterbacks?
I like that list. That list. Here are my top 5 quarterbacks for the SEC.
I checked it twice.
Number 1, Bryce Young. I'll say the same thing I said when we made our top 10 list earlier for the entire country is if you win the Heisman Trophy and you return, you need to be at the top of that list.
How it works.
Exactly. So to me, number 2, Will Rogers. And this was fairly easy. So I want to ask you after this why you had K.J. Jefferson above Will Rogers. But when you were talking about Will Rogers' stats, let me read you this. 73.9% completion percentage.
That's really
and before you just think like, oh, well, he played in a system where you can dink and dunk and, played for Mike Leach, still threw for 4,700 yards with a TD to interception ratio of 36-9. So it's fairly incredible what he's able to do with the football. He can sling it around the yard. Now, will Mississippi State be great this season? I don't believe so, but he is my number 2 quarterback in the SEC. Then at number 3, I do have Hendon Hooker. After he won that job at Tennessee, Tennessee last year. He really made it his. I expect big things from them, and I do think Tennessee can sort of take over in that vacuum that has been created after Georgia in the East. So let's see, especially when they play Kentucky this year. That's going to be interesting to see. Number 4, here's where it gets exciting for me, is I have Max Johnson at number 4. Actually.
Really?
Now, and I'll go ahead. Okay, so here's how I want to roll this out. Max Johnson at number 4, just because look what he was able to do for an LSU offense last year that didn't have a lot of protection for him, didn't have a lot of weapons outside of Keyshawn Boutte, and he now is going over to Texas A&M, where he's going to be able to play under the tutelage of Jimbo Fisher. I think that when you look at what he's able to do with the football, especially through the air, that's why I have him at number 4. And then at number 5 for me, Blaine hasn't seen my list yet.
Oh, no.
I have Stetson Bennett at
Good
number
for
5.
you.
You know why? Because he's a national champion.
Good for you. I almost put him 5.
Okay?
You think Stetson's the
I almost put him 5.
Let me break it down here for you. Max Johnson, number 4 for me. Stetson Bennett, number 5 for me. Then we have KJ Jefferson, Will Levis, and then even AR, well, he don't want to be called AR-15 anymore, but Anthony Richardson, right? Those 5 to me, when you look at it, their stats are very similar from last season. So to me, I have to break it down of who can be more than one-dimensional when it comes to playing the quarterback position.
As well.
Will Levis and KJ Jefferson, to me, are so similar in that they can do so much with their feet and they have live arms. But having a live arm doesn't necessarily make you a great passer. So when I hear you say, can KJ Jefferson take that next step this season, as he was able to do from last season to the previous season, if he's able to do that, then I think he could be a top 3 quarterback in the SEC. But I need to see it first. The same with Will Levis. It's not enough to just be able to dominate with your feet and have a live arm, make a big throw occasionally. I mean, when you talk about someone like Will Rogers, 74% completion percentage is incredible. So I have those guys just outside my top 5.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's a great argument. I mean, you look at the SEC really past Bryce Young. I mean, you could make a case for a lot of guys from 2 through 8, 2 through 10. The reason I had KJ above Will was because of the running element. Because while Will is a huge threat in the passing game, and it worries me, and he's not a bad runner. I mean, Will's smart. If you watch the way he plays, he's smart. He understands who he is. KJ Jefferson is a physical and dominant runner of the football, and I think about where the money's made. In the red zone. When I have a guy that I can line up and I can run Q power. When I have a guy that when it does break down, if he's got to run over a linebacker or beat. Do you remember, I'm trying to remember which game it was last year, where he goes and takes off, dives for the end zone, gets helicoptered in the air, lands, gets right back up, and he's fine. That does something to a defense. You having a guy that can sit there and tear you apart, that hurts. That hurts. But on first down, 1st and 10, when you got them locked up and it's incomplete in the 2nd 10. All of a sudden they try and run it or something on 2nd down and 10, and it's 3rd and 9. And then all of a sudden on 3rd and 9, you've got everything covered up. And they take off and run. And they have to make the decision, I'm not going out of bounds, I'm going to run over a safety to get the first down, and they get it. That rips your guts out. That is such a gut check, and it's not a huge gap. I would be fine having Will or KJ. You can make a great argument, like I think you did, for either one of them. But the difference is when it comes down to the red zone, I feel like there is more on the menu because KJ is a different type of player, and he is a force downhill when you get down to it. 4th and 1, similar and stuff like that.
The ability to take off and run like that is one more reason that I put Stetson Bennett up there. Yes, he played.
I love this point.
Escapability, Stetson's up
there. Yeah, I love
this point. I mean, look, I know what you're about to say, Blaine. They had a great defense last year, and he has a lot of weapons, when it comes to the tight end position. And look, it's easier to win and be a good quarterback when you have all those weapons. But his ability to be accurate with the football and then get out of the pocket is what's exciting about Stetson Bennett.
That's the only way you
beat
Alabama.
He's not running over people like Will Levis.
Yeah, that's the only way you beat Alabama.
I mean, this honest, you don't really want that.
No,
but the threat that it's there.
Does, yeah, it does add on to another layer of being a good quarterback. But here's my list. Obviously, Bryce Young first. I mean, talent-wise, the kid's so cerebral. He can do it all. He can run well, and he's super athletic. I don't think people when he's in space, this cat's hard to bring down.
He is.
He's made really good defensive players look really bad. Number 2 for me is Hendon Hooker. I still think this guy, the second highest ceiling, in my opinion. I think Will Levis has the highest ceiling out of the quarterbacks in the SEC. I think Will Levis is still figuring out how to play quarterback. His arm's so live. There's a lot of passes he missed last year that I think he'll make this year. But you go to Hendon Hooker, I mean, what can this guy not do? I think 31 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 600-plus rushing yards in a system that was his first year in that system, and he's only going to get more and more comfortable. I think Hendon might end up being a Heisman candidate.
I've got KJ going to New York.
I don't mind that.
New York.
I don't mind that. Number 3 to me is Will Rogers. I think Will Rogers right now, if I had to pick other than Bryce Young, Will Rogers would be the most NFL-ready quarterback to me. I feel like you could put Will right now almost on the Giants, and he'd be fine. You could put on the Jets, and he'd be just as good as Zach Wilson or Daniel Jones, probably better. And you can say you can go back to a system, but I'll never blame a guy for a system. Will Rogers is an NFL-ready quarterback right now. Tell me a pass that Will Rogers can't make, and I'll show you a liar. Number 4 to me is KJ Jefferson. I know you lose Treylon Burks, but KJ, one, running attack, he's physical, and he's somewhat fast. His deep ball and his intermediate game with the football got so much better last year, and I know it's going to keep improving, but he does need to get a little bit more accurate to me, in my opinion, but I think he will. And number 5 to me is Will Levis. And I know you lost your best receiver at Kentucky, but Will's one of those he kind of reminds me of Josh Allen a little bit. Not as live as an arm, not as accurate as a thrower, but he has a lot of room to grow. And I think Will grow in that system, and right now they do a lot of handing the ball off play action. The thing about it, you can get him outside the box. He can run. He's as any athlete on that field, athletic as any of them, and he's only going to get better to me. So that's my top 5.
Notice a name we didn't have on that list, Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
You had some guys that had Spencer Rattler in your top 5, and listen, I would love to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be able to come back here and say, you know what, Spencer Rattler turned it around. He figured it out. Good for him. But you have some sports media members listen to him as the number 2 quarterback in the SEC. How in the hell could you make that leap? You've watched him play Power 5 football. If my car goes out, not saying that people don't improve, they do improve. But Blaine made a great point the other day. If you think you're going to go from Lincoln Riley's system and that tutelage over to South Carolina, running that offense, and all of a sudden you're going to figure out how to play quarterback, here's his problem. He stares at the rush. He stares at the rush. He stares at rush more than people going to concerts in the late 70s. It's unbelievable that people don't talk about that. Go watch against Texas. I don't even know if he knew how many receivers he had on each side of the line of scrimmage. He was terrified of the rush. That is something that is so hard, in my opinion, to get out. And I just don't think Spencer Rattler, from arm talent-wise, Spencer's got ability. I don't think he's got that dog in him. Yeah. I just don't. And like I said, I hope I'm wrong. And guys have turned it around and figured it out. And I love what Shane Beamer's doing at South Carolina. But there's a reason I got him going 2-6 in the league.
And it's still a great get for South Carolina.
It's a great get for South Carolina.
It's still a great get to bring him over to play football for South Carolina. But I would take 8 guys in the SEC before him.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
It surprises me because people just look at name and what they're supposed to be and just immediately make their prediction.
Sure.
Like you saw this kid at Oklahoma. One, he got benched at Oklahoma. I think he had 11 touchdowns and 6 interceptions and got benched. And he was missing open guys and making the same mistakes after the same mistakes. And in the Lincoln Riley system, like if you're doing that and you come over to the first of all, not even South Carolina, but you come to the SEC where you're going to face a lot better defenses in and out every week. I don't know how, from an analyst standpoint, you can look and be like, you know what? That guy is going to be the second.
Oh, I know how you do it. You're just trying to reach for clicks.
You're guessing. Yeah. You're guessing, and you're reaching for clicks. And to me, it's just disappointing. And I expected better, to be honest.
Yeah. I was going to make one more point about Hendon Hooker, which a stat you brought up, which I was glad you did. He didn't even start every game last season.
No.
31 touchdowns and 3 picks.
That's insane.
That's incredible.
Well, and he can run, too.
Well, yes, and the thing about his running ability, like where he's different than KJ, is he's a long strider. Mm-hmm. Like Hendon's one of those guys that if you let him get 4 or 5 steps into it, his speed is going to increase. He can hit it for 60. Like Hendon can really score from far out. He reminds me of a kid a little bit named Brandon Bridge we had at South. Hendon's a lot better than Brandon was. But if you let Brandon get 3 or 4 steps, he's about 6'6", and you let him start hitting those long strides. I mean, look at the Usain Bolt and the tall guys running track like that. Those long striders, there's a term for it. So when I see Hendon Hooker from a running standpoint, it's fun to watch. But speaking about quarterbacks and quarterback development, we have one of the greatest of all time.
Yes,
Coach Peyton Manning, Coach Eli Manning has some things to say about Arch as well, and what you look for in the intangibles for a quarterback. Former Coach David Cutcliffe. This is a heck of an interview.
All right, everybody, we are thrilled to be joined by one of the greatest minds that we have seen in college football, one of the best people off the field, one of the best coaches on the field. You've seen him as a head coach at many places, including Duke. He's been in the SEC, Ole Miss, everywhere, Tennessee. It's Coach David Cutcliffe. Coach, it's an honor to talk to you.
I'm looking forward to this, guys.
Yes.
Nice setup here.
Look, I got to give credit to the team. Mm-hmm. You know, I just try and wake up and look decent enough and come in here and ask some good questions, but they do an unbelievable
I've
job
tried
setting
that,
it
but
up.
I still haven't gotten to the point where I look decent enough for television camera.
Well, look, the suit's looking super fly there,
Sharp,
Coach, too. I want to start as somebody that understands the quarterback position and the development of a quarterback. You've recruited so many, you've developed so many guys that have gone on to have so much success. When you were watching high school tape, what were some of the things that you were looking at? I mean, obviously, can he throw the ball and stuff, but what were some of the intangibles that you were looking at?
Yeah, I mean, the intangibles often will separate. There are people that are accurate. There's arm strength. The intangibles, not just intellect, but decisiveness with intellect. So, for example, one of my tests was to have a quarterback always order off a menu. I didn't want to have a circumstance where we were going through a buffet with recruiting a quarterback. I could not sign a guy that couldn't make up his mind on a menu. If you've got 3.5 seconds to make a decision where you want to go with the ball, and you don't know whether you want steak or chicken, I got a problem. Okay, so that's and that is a mindset. The other thing is visualization, conversation. So unlike a lot of coaches that get on the board with their projector or screen and talk to a quarterback what they're seeing, I'm going to talk to them about what they're seeing in their mind's eye. We got to remember that the game is not played through a video, through a press box shot for sure. So if they can't see what I'm referring to, if we got the safety 2 yards off the hash here, this safety's on the hash, I see a little depth at the Mike linebacker. What would you think? Safeties are deeper than the corners. Doesn't look like quarters. It looks like half. I would love the answer to be Tampa 2.
That's
okay. You were thinking
Mike
that,
in the sky, yeah.
but you can see it. And so those intangibles, and then as we have transitioned to a gun offense, okay, that's where we live. Now I'm going to look at how they catch a snap. I want a middle infielder. You've never seen a shortstop come across the bag and look at the ball to catch it. Same thing with a quarterback. That ball has got to be snapped. My eyes have to be downfield because you have a pre-snap read, then you have a post-snap read, and then the alarm's got to sound.
For sure.
Meaning quickly make a
That
decision.
rotation, you got to see it.
And so you can't bury your head. So, fans that want to look at a high school quarterback and to some degree they have to be taught it, but there's just a naturalness to vision. And so I really pay attention to what guys do with their eyes and with their mind's eye.
So do you prefer under center? Like if you're just because you're able to see the drop back outside of play action?
Back in
obviously.
the old days, yes, but with defenses being as fast as they are, with A-gaps being as susceptible, the pressures that zone blitz grew and the pressures that occurred where, a guy, and I love that time of taking a snap and my eyes are downfield and what I call it being busy during your drop. And I was never a 7-step drop guy. I was always short 5, long 5, but 5 steps. But what were you getting done? So I had to adjust, change my approach with, again, A-gaps, are hard. Bear defense, double shoot with the ends dropping.
They're coming.
Yeah, well, that back's behind you when you're under the center. There's not a great answer. When I'm in the gun, I can fix that at quarterback. I can go to, a slide protection or the back's going to get there before. And so I don't know if that's a long answer.
That makes so much sense.
The reality is in today's game with, guys, when I started coaching, maybe safeties that were 4'7", 4'8", linebackers about the same, and now they're 4'4", 4'5". They get to you a whole lot quicker than they used to. So the gun enabled us to kind of increase and grow our protection game and let the quarterback manage protection because it was all a visual for him. And so we went away from centers making calls, and that's why Peyton loved it so much. It was in that era I gave the quarterback all the protection calls and responsibilities call a 6-man protection, and then they fix it. Call a 5-man protection, then they fix it. And that's kind of how I've always tried to coach. Let that functional part
I love that
handle it.
answer. I could talk
This
to
is
you
a
for
blast.
6
I know.
hours.
And you were at Notre Dame when I was coming out of high school, and my father said there's only one person I want you to play for, and that's David Cutcliffe.
Well,
Now,
I wish we could have had
I know.
that.
I ended up going a different direction, played at Michigan, but you've coached some of the best in the game with Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, like you were talking about. Those two specifically, what was it about those guys that set them apart from other guys who have all the physical characteristics? We see guys who can sling the ball all over the yard, but what about them set them apart?
Well, let's go back to those intangibles. And it was interesting with both of them, be it at practice or in a game. I've mentioned that 3.5 seconds, and that's long for me. I don't like holding the ball. I want receivers to be ready on time, and I'm a big timing guy in the passing game, not yardage guy. But those two, when I would ask them, I would say, hey, what did you see to make you do this? To tell me what went through their mind. And in that 3.5 seconds would take them 30 seconds to verbalize. And it was real and it was accurate. So this computer, it turns so quickly. And it even, I think comedians are like that. They're so fast thinking. And you kind of see it in their post-football world. They're pretty clever guys. When you're sitting there doing a call of a game, they see things quickly that other people don't see, and that's why that went so well for them. But that part of it, and then it's a Manning family trait to be focused on the task at hand, be where your feet are. I mean, they were always into their team, into their teammates, into practice, make practice like a game. We all remember Allen Iverson practice, and I thought he was one of the best high school athletes I'd ever
Football
seen.
too. I mean, people forget that guy.
Tremendous. But I'm sorry, Allen, you are great, but practice is that important. There's a guy named Aristotle that must have been the first great coach of all time. He said, we become what we repeatedly do. Excellence isn't an act. Well, practice makes permanent. And so they were able to create that intensity and that ability to practice at the highest of levels. And it also brings teammates with you. When Peyton went to Denver, we absolutely saw that the demands of the organization changed. Eli was able to do it in New York. And I think there's a bigger, you always have a conversation with someone on time to time, they're not there. They're really not listening to what you're having to say. These guys lock in.
Sure.
And that's a great skill, not just a habit, but a great skill to develop.
Yeah. Well, I heard you talking about the benefits of being in the shotgun, and certainly allowing the quarterback to get involved in the zone read game has changed football in a lot of respects. But I've been asking a lot of coaches this, and I want your opinion most of all.
Sure.
I'm seeing way too many offenses line up in the shotgun on 4th and 1, especially from the 1. Okay, where you throw the football 5 yards back. To me, it gives the defense an advantage. What are your thoughts?
I would rather be under the center there. Listen, there's an old drill we did in football when we were all under the center. You did it with you. If you were smart, you brought your center, but you had the backs and the quarterbacks, and it was timing and assignment, and you took that to heart. So that exchange is much more important. The timing of the snap, seating the ball, great footwork. When you hit the run game with perfect timing, and you're hitting the right spot, and you're hitting downhill, and the offensive line footwork is what it should be, there are very few lost yardage plays.
Exactly.
And so what you're saying, I have struggled with as a coach, even in the upfield run game, that how do you develop timing and assignment when I see quarterbacks? Watch football. Watch how many of them are reaching here or going over here. Well, the timing of the run game is gone. And now if you got a great big offensive line and you're just kind of walking people off zone, well, it still may make yards. But when you get down there, you're better off with two things. One, great runs. great play action passes.
Oh, yeah.
We've all seen those tight
Yeah.
ends.
Slip.
Wind them
Lollipop.
open, and then bootlegs. Ask Peyton sometime about, I told him on the bus, we're playing Alabama. I said, if I call 2 power on the goal line, this is under the center, and the signaler points at you, I'm not going to tell him why he's pointing. Nobody's going to know. I said, so if he points at you, I want the guts of a burglar. You fake that thing and hold the ball, and you bootleg out the back. Well, I got a picture in my house of that play. The back launched and ended up in the end zone. Offensive linemen were signaling touchdown based on that, and Peyton had
And you have to run 4-4 to score on that play.
No, and so that's an example of just how effective goal line offense can be. And from the 4-yard line in is where I call it goal line offense, and you have to practice it specifically. I kind of got that from Bill Walsh, that your team should know what to expect. They should believe it's going to work, because you're going to have to spend the time to be great. If you're within 6 points, go get it.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
great
sir.
question.
So really, the only people that knew, if you don't mind me asking, did the back have to know too?
No, I didn't tell. Jay Graham was the back, who was a heck of a back, and Jay just went through it. And
Love it.
Wait, he still went over the line with the ball?
No, he's a salesman.
Hey,
that's a
coaching.
salesman.
That's coaching right there. Is what
yeah,
that is.
but I mean, I didn't tell. I mean, I'm sitting in the bus, and we always sat together going to the game, and I said, "Don't say a word to anybody. When you get that point, just keep it." But I always have used the term on great fakers, the guts of a burglar. That's probably
Guts of a
that's
burglar.
great. That's great. I just wonder if it's one of those things where, you call it in, you point, you're up there looking, you look to the guy and go, watch this. Like, that's good. We see Lane throw the clipboard and all that stuff.
It's a fond memory. And then, of course, typical clever Peyton, he signed the picture to Coach Cut. Thanks for the point.
I love that. I love that.
Perfect.
Coach, I was going to ask you about the playoff. We got 4 teams in the playoff right now.
Yeah.
If it was to get expanded, what number would you like to see, or would you like to see it stay the same?
Well, I don't think we've been broken at 4. The thing that bothers me a little bit is that we're not a tournament sport. We're not an NFL sport. We don't have necessarily practice squad players. So I worry about, are there 12 teams worthy of winning a national championship collegiately? And I'm going to give you 2 answers. I'm giving you the anti first. I've always thought that our regular season in college football was the most intense regular season of all, the most watched, because you're in a playoff about week 3 on.
Yep.
Okay, you've got to play great, and it's a challenge for a staff. It's a challenge for a team. Now, the other side of it is that there's such an inequality in selection and opponents played, and so I think now the big challenge is to go to how many automatic qualifiers. So you see that in basketball. There's some AQs, I guess is the cool word to use nowadays, in basketball that get beat badly early. So what's the balance between earning your way in? So if that's 8, if that's 12, I'm not sure. I would be more interested in what I like analytics, and I like some of the people that go back and study. There's some companies that are really good. I would personally love to sit down with these people and look at the years in the past and how many where we feel like we've eliminated somebody that should have been in it, how many got in it that shouldn't have, or how many times we may have missed on who the national championship games should have in it. So it's a complex question. The great part of it is, in our great world of college football, people are loving to talk about.
That's exactly right. No, it's not bad for business. And Coach, last question, obviously, again, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us. You coached Eli, Coach Peyton. Arch is coming up. How excited are you to watch another Manning play quarterback? And the hype's going to be almost impossible to reach just because he's a Manning. But how excited are you to watch another Manning get behind center and grow and develop?
Well, I'm excited for him because I know how important it is to him.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you this, through all of this recruiting, I've done hands off, but I've prayed for him and Cooper and Ellen and Hyde, and, that it's all just been every day. And I hope that, because it was nothing like that for his dad or certainly even for Peyton and Eli. So I hope he can manage, just trying to be the best football player and the best teammate he can be. That's what I've told him. There are no expectations beyond your own. And, here's what I told Peyton, post Heisman Trophy is something my mother told me. And I this is a good place to share it. I was upset about not winning an award once. And she looked at me, she said, "Do you understand the difference between success and achievement?" Man, she said, "Well, success is always somebody else's opinion. All this or all that or this." She said, "Achievement is a whole lot more satisfying if you'll look in the mirror and without a shadow of a doubt, you've been the best you can be. It's all that matters." And so young people with social media and all of the comparisons and issues they have to deal with stress would be much more inclined to feel fulfilled if you just achieve. Sometimes world doesn't turn out like, well, I was supposed to pitch for the New York Yankees, but somebody forgot to tell them.
I'm still supposed to be pitching for the
My name's David Cohen. I know all about it. For God's sake.
So, I just hope Art remembers to be true to himself and work hard and do the things you've got to do to be a great teammate, because that's still the best thing that anybody can say to you post-playing when they come up and say, "Hey, Dave, man, you were the best teammate I ever had."
Yeah.
Nothing would make you feel better as an athlete than that, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so whether you're an Arch Manning or any quarterback out there, young quarterbacks, I tell them that all the time. First and foremost, try to be a great teammate. And you're well on your way to being a winner when you can do that. So that's what it is.
Coach, I again, like I said, it's about the 9th time I've said it, but it's fantastic stuff. And thanks so much. We'd love to have you back on again during the season at some point. Like I said, I know you're a busy man, and those analytics, when you find them out, let me know. Because as a guy from Auburn in 2004, I feel like we got a little.
I mean,
that's exactly right.
But and those people, I've had some conversations with some of those companies just from an interest standpoint. And there's a difference. I want people to understand there's a difference in statistics that can be twisted and turned as opposed to analytics, deep research study. That interests me. I'm not a big stat guy. Mm-hmm. There's only one stat in football that matters, and that's PPG, called points per game.
That's exactly right.
And the rest of them, now,
I love it.
But analytics, we can learn.
Yes, sir. Well, you brought up Aristotle, talking about it earlier. Another philosopher, Lil Wayne, did say, "Women lie, men lie, but numbers don't lie," Coach. And that's exactly right.
There you go.
But I appreciate you again, and we look forward to having you on soon.
Thank you.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
it.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Appreciate
it very much.
All right, everybody. Unbelievable to get Coach Cutcliffe up here. He's a guy we really want to get back on. Obviously, talking about analytics. I want to see what he thinks about some teams that were left out, maybe how to improve the system, how many teams. But remember, if you want to watch the rest of this show, we're going to keep the audio here, but if you want to watch it, head over to thedailywire.com. Become a member. Why not? Welcome to the team. Or listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe, leave a 5-star review. We got some more great football talk coming in the second half. And we're going to talk a little baseball, home run derby, and all-star game. We'll be right back. All right, thank you guys for coming back. Coney, number one, I'm still kind of buzzing about that Cutcliffe interview. We've done a lot of interviews, a lot of good ones.
That's fun.
And that to me was top 5. And he's a guy, like I said, I want to get back on. But there's a little bit more than football going on. You want to hop into a little rapid fire here?
Let's do it. There, the soundboard.
You did
Great.
well with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. You know, the soundboard didn't make the trip. Replacement cone made the trip.
Replacement cone made the trip. He smuggled him
Waiting for
aboard.
his opportunity.
Well,
Yeah,
look,
he's called a parlay with the captain.
you know, guys, the home run derby didn't turn out quite like any of us
Oh, man.
did last night.
Jeez.
Even though I think you got a Juan Soto.
Oh, man. So, you know, we obviously make our show bets, and we bet on our show bets, but we only are allowed to take 2 bets. So yesterday, I took a couple extra bets. I took a personal, what we call, which means it wasn't on the show, but I personally took it. It's not anything
Thank you for
nefarious.
that.
Everybody calm down. You know, producer Justine.
How'd you get away with that here?
Huh?
How'd you get away with that here?
How did I get away with it? What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Don't answer that.
Yeah. How'd you make
Look.
a bet in Georgia?
I'm your attorney. I'm
Oh,
your attorney here.
first off,
Yeah, how'd you make a bet? Got him. We got him. We got him. Come in the door. We got
yeah,
him.
can we, we're going to have to kill Blade. Juan Soto.
Yeah.
Let's just say he came through for the kid. Let's just say that.
Came through.
How about that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, look around the house to see who has a lamp in there. That's how you find it.
Pete Alonso really let me down.
Oh, Pete Alonso let you down.
Yeah.
Dude,
Sorry.
you know what Kyle Schwarber did?
Oh.
That was a bad one. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You know
that
what
was,
Kyle
that was a
Schwarber
bad
did to
beat.
me?
That was a bad beat, man. I'm sorry.
Jeez, the third leg.
Permission to speak freely?
Permission
You're in the
granted.
trust tree.
I really kind of feel like Kyle Schwarber's round was fixed with Albert Pujols.
You think so?
Dude.
You're the number 1 seed.
The number
Okay.
1 seed.
Kyle Schwarber, professional home run hitter. Okay. You're not in the major leagues to steal second or because you have a great glove. You are a ball of muscle. You're supposed to hit home runs. And you hit 13 in the first round. I could have hit 7. Like, I was shocked watching that. And the pitching wasn't great for Schwarber, but
It
still.
was Randy rolling over.
It was the wrist turning over. It just looked funny to me. I watched Rodriguez hit 132 home runs in the first round. Then Albert Pujols gets up there. Everybody comes over. It's like a Sarah McLachlan song. It's like, I will remember you. And then all of a sudden Kyle Schwarber goes there and just forgets. I don't know. It just,
Well,
something stinks.
The thing
That's
about
Rob
the home run
Manfred's
derby, why
hands
Pete
all
Alonso,
over it.
1, can hit tanks, but 2, wins most of the time, is like, don't watch the ball after
Yeah.
you hit it.
Get in a rhythm.
Get in the rhythm. Go ahead and hit the next. From a guy who won the home run derby when I was 11 in the World Series. All right, like you're not waiting for the ball to land. Every time Kyle Schwarber would swing, whether it's a ground ball or a home run, he would wait and see where it went.
That's
They
what I'm
don't
telling
do
you.
that.
I think it
Might have been fixed. I'm trying to fight him in the 7th inning. I'm gonna be honest.
I was shocked. Happy for Juan Soto to win it again. You know, I've never been
Now you got to pay him more.
bad.
You got to pay him more.
He was like, no, $440 million. Watch this.
Yeah.
But again, I thought it was a good home run derby. Didn't have one go over 500 feet.
No,
which I was
482.
482.
We got to be like MLB. We got to be better.
Yeah, we need to get somewhere. It's got a good jet stream.
Yeah,
like I want to see
people wanna
balls.
see tanks.
Yeah, I want to see balls going 530 feet.
See steroids. Steroids. See,
I knew
he
this
said
was
it.
coming.
He said
I
it.
knew this was
He wants to
coming.
see it.
Glenn.
He
No.
wants to see it.
I don't want us to pump baseball players full of steroids.
I want to see a home run derby. I want to see balls go 700.
Well, how about we did this? What if? Oh, I got a great idea.
Hmm.
You know how they have long drive contests?
Mhm.
Why wouldn't we start a home run derby circuit? Would people go to that? Like where you just go? and
Whoever
watch-
hits the longest home run wins.
Aluminum bats or wood bats?
aluminum bats with an aluminum bat attached.
I want Thor's
And it's
hammer
squirts.
up there.
Yeah.
And there's pine tar.
Listen, well, you're allowed. There is no rule against the bat.
There's no rules. How far can you hit?
Yes.
It's like there's no rule against
So,
that. There's
so
no
is
rule.
the question.
There's no
The
rule.
question isn't how many home runs you hit.
It's how far
who
you
hits
can
the
hit
furthest one fair. In the comments, you got to tell. I don't know.
That's patented by Craig.
That's patented by Craig Company. You can whatever.
Trademark.
This is
Yeah,
not a-
trademark,
yeah.
Craig Company.
Yeah, whatever it's called. I think that's a really good idea, and I think we may have just cracked the code on this.
We
one.
should do it.
I think we just went Alan Turing.
We should do
But
that in a bowl game.
That in a bowl game.
Yeah, that in
What
a
would we
bowl
call the bowl game?
But
Actually, you know what? I'm
we need to
afraid
sit down
ask
and
you
talk
this.
about this.
We'll sit down and talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not live.
You can't opt out.
Yeah, you
can't opt out.
You can't opt out.
Can't opt out.
Are you opt out? Are you opt out forever?
Yeah.
The Crane Company opt-in bowl game.
Yes, the opt-in bowl game. That's
That'd be great.
That's what we're gonna have. That's
Oh.
good stuff. All right.
Well, what do you expect from the All-Star game tonight? Can the National League win one of these things here?
Well, I hope not, considering the bet I'm going to drop at the end, which
I
means
just-
they will. Put it all in the National League.
Growing up, I just felt like the American League won it.
They always won it. They always win
They
it.
always won it.
I used to play on the Major League Baseball game. I would always play the All-Star game as the National League just to see what it was like. for the National League to win it. Just know that could happen. But I don't think the Matrix allows it. I think it's a glitch in the Matrix that they're still trying to smooth out. Zuckerberg and them are still trying to figure out, putting the codes and algorithms together. The All-Star game used to matter. It used to matter. The winner would get home field advantage. But here's why, to me, it doesn't. And I've said this before on this show. I'm not about participation trophies, man. Your kid's going over to another kid's birthday party and they give your kid a gift back. I'm not about that. That party's not about you. The All-Star game isn't about having a representative from each team. This isn't NATO. To get the best players. It's the All-Star game. If you got to pick 7 Yankees, pick 7 Yankees. If the Royals don't have an All-Star, they don't have an All-Star. To me, it defeats the whole purpose of the game. All right, well, we're going to give the Tigers got to have a representative and these guys have a representative. Come on, man. There's not a comet heading toward the earth where we all got to get together and everybody gets to say their own opinions. But if you think about it, if there was a comet heading toward the earth, they're not going to be all right, we need one rep from here, one rep from here. They're give us the smartest people on the planet. If they're all in Yugoslavia, give them all to us. It doesn't matter. All stars. You are all stars. Not you're all from a different team. You're all stars. I hate that rule, and it's another reason why Rob Manfred is one of the worst people on the planet.
Okay, I agree with you on that, but I do still think Major League Baseball has the best all-star game in Major League sports.
Really?
Disagree with that? I mean,
What's
no one's watching
the Pro Bowl?
No one's watching the Pro Bowl.
No, but what is the Pro Bowl?
I haven't watched the NBA All-Star game in a long time. The slam dunk
contest is a disaster.
The dunk contest used to be very special.
Yeah.
Now it's absolutely irrelevant. They're thinking about getting rid of it, for God's sakes. And the home run derby still was very entertaining last night.
I agree with you. I think the All-Star setup for Major League Baseball is the best in professional sports.
That's depressing.
And tonight should still be fun. I'm excited to see the best pitchers throw to the best hitters. And talking about National League, at least Kershaw is going to start for the National League in his home park, which is cool. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much that's going to help him, but
the uniforms this year are sick too.
Okay,
like the gold
sold
tips.
on the uniforms.
But how do you not like that?
I kind of liked them.
I wouldn't say I hate them. I mean, I think they're okay. I just expected more.
What would your All-Star jersey look like?
Well, I'd really have to sit down and
get out and draw.
You got the Devil Wears Prada this thing?
Yeah, I'd smell the sounds and hear the colors, whatever it is, and really sit down and
that.
Maybe throw some AirPods in.
You and Mr. Cheezel?
Let the sun come through a little bit. Really, get up at 5:30. You want to watch the sun come up and really feel the vibes that are coming
up at 5:30.
He's talking about football in college.
I'm sorry, you're talking about PM.
He meant to say sun go down.
Yeah.
Why would you
wake up at 5:30, watch the sun go down?
At 5:30 in the morning.
Wake up at 5:30. Turn the
we
line.
landed on the moon.
Turn the Lion King soundtrack on. Really become one with nature.
Come up with the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Blaine would out there have them. They'd be wearing loincloths and stuff out there.
Throwing spears around.
All right.
Hey, if you do take the All-Star game, though, I want you to know this. If it ends in a tie, they do it with a home run swing off.
They do.
Wait, I thought it was
that's a real thing.
On the home run derby.
Wins the. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought they'd get a player from each team. Let's find out.
Another good idea. Come up with all sorts of good ideas.
Stop throwing out such good ideas out here.
I like this.
You like this?
In the afternoon, but in the morning.
So we never talked about the Open Championship. Your boy Rory, so close. So close. Cameron Smith shot 64 on the final day. I feel like you want to get something off your chest.
Rory hadn't won a major in, 8 years?
Yeah.
Something like that.
At some point, we have to kind of start calling out who's really about it and who's not. Spencer Rattler, like I was talking about earlier, I don't believe in him. But when I looked at Rory, I don't think Rory choked it. Rory didn't do anything to lose it. He didn't do anything to win it when it mattered. Cam Smith won it. I don't think Rory, when it really comes down to it, enjoys the smoke. Some guys, they need it. Like Tiger needed it. Cam Smith, he needed it. Eight under in the back nine? He looked at Rory and said, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it from you because I'm better than you. And Rory did nothing about it. And you just watch him. He's got a little Jordan Spieth in him. Sometimes he just mopes around. And I think he's so worried about, all of the other stuff that goes on instead of going out there and just being a dog. I mean, you're carrying the lead. You got a chance to win. You hadn't won one in 8 years. And you just look at him and he was kind of nonchalant. You looked at Cam Smith and that dude was lasered in. I mean, he knew. He's like, this is what I'm about to do to you. And we've got to stop looking at Rory as a superstar in golf. I'm sorry. Ooh. Congrats. You can drive it far. But when it comes down to it, and you had a great Open, but superstar? Are you really a superstar? You don't win a major in 8 years, and you're a superstar? He's not a superstar to me. He's a really good golfer that's got a cool accent and was one of the young guys coming up with Spieth and all them that they thought guys that just were going to be the new face of golf. But all Rory does is complain. You complain about the LIV Tour, and then all of a sudden it's okay again. But you go out, you should probably hope some of these guys like Cam Smith go to the LIV Tour, or you may never win another major again. So I'm sick of all this Rory McIlroy's a superstar. It don't take 8 years for superstars to win in majors when you're in your prime. You're not a superstar. You're just a cool story, like, Little Red Riding Hood or the Big Bad Wolf or again, let's be honest.
It's hard to win majors, man. They're hard.
But then it's hard to be a superstar.
It is, but he's still a superstar.
How?
We can't compare every professional golfer to Tiger Woods.
I'm not comparing with Tiger.
What Tiger did was a whole different.
Name one super. Okay. Let me ask you this.
Like, we can't say like Tiger Woods was a superstar and then Tiger Woods was beyond a superstar.
John Rahm a superstar?
Not yet. I mean,
he's done more than Rory in the last 8 years.
I mean, Rory still has 4 majors. And in that 8 years that you're talking about, he finished top 10 in majors a dozen times. Now, this one was bad. Look, he still shot 2 under on the final day. I agree with everything you're saying. You didn't go out there and win the tournament when you were the fan favorite, and it's basically your home course. It's bad. And I thought that Rory, this was the one where he could get over the hump. Will he win the Masters? That's the one he needs for the final leg of his career.
Rory's just not a finisher.
Okay.
You can't be a superstar if you're not a finisher.
You go to Sunday Rory, and if he's in contention, right, he'll play decent. All right, if he's out of it and there's no pressure, hell, he'll shoot a 65 or a 64. Rory's been like that. And this is the reason I said that on the show. Pressure hits people differently. People act in different ways. Cam Smith went and got it. Right, he saw his opportunity and went and got it. But Rory's always just been so complacent to me. I've never looked at Rory and I'm like, damn, he's going to get that today. Like, I've never, especially Sunday, like, if Rory's top 5, he'll shoot a 2 under, right? But if he's out of it, 20 plus, he'll play phenomenal. Pressure makes diamonds. That's what it does. And Rory, at the end of the day, he is a great player and he'll go down as a great player, but he's not in that upper echelon.
He don't have that killer.
That top tier to me.
You don't have that killer.
He need to accomplish? And I mean, remember, Tiger Woods had a long gap between major championships too, and we thought there was a while there where we thought like, okay, Tiger Woods isn't going to win another one, and we're okay with that. Then he pops up and wins the Masters, right, year before last. So what I'm saying is, we still always considered in that time span that Tiger Woods was still a superstar or beyond. Rory still has 4 majors, which is a lot more than a lot of the guys on the PGA Tour who we still consider to be superstars of the game. So at what point does he have to accomplish enough to be a superstar regardless if he's in a rut or if he doesn't even ever win another major?
Well, again, I think we're talking about the point in time when they're playing. When he was winning those 4 majors coming up, he was a superstar, but you don't win one in 8 years. And Tiger, when he stopped winning his, was a lot older, and there's a different reason that he stopped than Rory. Rory should be in the best prime golf playing of his life. You don't win one in 8 years. That is a long time. Imagine if you were a salesman, you didn't make a big sale for 8 years. You would never be considered a dominant salesman. He had a good run when he was younger, and he'll go out and win the GroupMe.com tournament, in Wales or something like that. But I think Blaine is right. We judge our superstars on what you do in the end. We judge basketball players on taking the game-winning shot. We judge quarterbacks on how they do on the last drive in the Super Bowl. And when it comes down to it, when the game is on the line, when Rory's got to go out there and take it, not just cruise, when he's got to go out there and take it, he stumbles every time. And there's a lot of areas, if you look at Rory, that to me, I think his focus. And again, he had a good showing at the British Open. But you got to go win that. Mm-hmm. Like you're in a position to go win that. I just think it's been such a hiatus in his prime. I don't think you can call him a superstar anymore. I really don't. And then you start to look around him. You look at guys like Zalatoris. You look at guys like Scheffler. You look at guys like Cam Smith. Those guys are going out there and getting it.
Sure, but all with fewer majors than him.
Yeah, but they've been playing.
Is Brooks Koepka a superstar?
Is Brooks Koepka a superstar?
I think so. Yeah, for sure.
So you think if you win
there was a time when Brooks Koepka, he won back-to-back PGAs and back-to-back,
so,
what was it? U.S. Open.
What's the number of majors you have to win to be a superstar?
I don't know if it's an exact number. And
Well,
I agree
4
with
is
you.
obviously your number if Rory.
Well,
that's
4 is a
for Rory.
lot of majors to win. There's a lot of great golfers. I mean, Greg Norman was a superstar golfer. I think he won 2. You know, like he was an amazing golfer. We're going to talk about for a long, long
He's
time.
also known as a choke artist.
That is true too.
Yeah. So again, I don't know how you can be a superstar and a choke artist. See, to me, superstars aren't just guys that ball during the regular season in the middle of the game. Like, to me, a superstar is the guy that, you know what? We've seen you do it. You've carried the team, but we got to have you right now. It's the game-winning shot, Larry Bird. It's the game-winning shot, Michael Jordan. I feel like we throw the term around superstar and legend, and this guy's a star. You won 4 majors a long time ago. That's great, and Rory will always have that. I think Rory he's an unbelievable golfer. Duh, he's on the PGA Tour, but I think when they start putting him in the same category as some of these other guys, especially right now, like if you were gonna, where would Rory McIlroy be if I said, all right, Cone, I will give you 5 golfers to take over the next 5 years to have the most success? Would Rory be in that top 5? I don't think he'd be in my top 5, Dave.
I probably wouldn't take Rory in my top 5 on that list. But I look at someone like Justin Thomas, who's doing amazing things too, and I think like, okay, is Justin doing that much better than Rory McIlroy?
I think it's been more the. I think he's done it more recent. I think recency bias is a real thing, and golf's a little bit of a different sport, but 8 years is a long time.
There does seem to be something with Rory and Spieth both who have suffered from like this just
And
initial
the talent
success.
of Rory. Rory's so talented.
Rory is unbelievably
talented.
talented. It's almost frustrating for me to watch. I get up and watch him off the tee. I watch the way that ball jumps off those irons, and it's unbelievable the power and the ability he has. That's why it's so frustrating when I felt like he just wasn't aggressive. I felt like he was just trying to hold on. And when you're trying to hold on in golf and a guy like Cam Smith is absolutely just shooting darts everywhere, it's tough for me to sit here and think you're a superstar.
Yeah, I get that. I guess one of the things is it's not like he's missing the cuts in a lot of these.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
He's finishing top 5. He's finishing top 10, which to me means he's right on the cusp of winning another 4. You know, if he were to retire with 8 majors, I mean, that's a whole different
And it means money.
Yeah,
It's
with
great to
8,
make cuts. You know, he's made a ton of money. I wish I'd make the amount of money that Rory, and look, I'm sure he's a good guy. I just have, this problem with the word superstar when it gets thrown around, our star. But speaking about stars, all-star game tonight. Not a whole lot to bet on. I'm never betting women's soccer again. To all the women in Italy, I'll never forgive you, but, you guys are pretty cool still.
I thought that was going
Well
a
played.
different direction.
No, I'm not.
What are you taking tonight then?
I'm going Nerfy for the All-Star game, minus 122, because why not? The Blaine special. Then give me the American League, minus 1.5 plus 165, because I've never seen the National League win the All-Star game. How about that?
Tony?
All right, my turn. I want to take a little same game parlay here with the American League money line plus the over at 7.5.
Good.
I don't think it'll be much over. I think it's going to be right at 8, something like that. Maybe we get a little 5-3 action. That's going off at plus 255, and then I want Aaron Judge to win the MVP at plus 500.
Love it. I am taking Nerfy. Surprise, surprise.
I'm shocked.
I was distraught when I couldn't bet it yesterday. I'm taking Tim Anderson to get a hit, minus 160.
I like that.
Hey, and Baby Cone is also going to ride that Nerfy train with you
Cone,
guys.
Baby Cone.
And the American League first 5 plus a half run at minus 1.
Loves the first 5s. Again, that kid's a baller. All right, hey, just because we're not live does not mean you don't put your booster bets in the comment section or on social media. Make sure you're following us. Make sure you're subscribing. Got a great show for you tomorrow as well. Shout out to David Cutcliffe. Got some more great guests. Make sure you're following us. And like Tuesday at SC Media Days, we're going.